This story is sponsored by DigElog ROCORI 2.0. The DigElog network now publishes to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, so we are where you are. DigElog ROCORI 2.0, where ROCORI people connect. 1 month ago, just before the Oscar Awards in February of 2009, DigElog ROCORI had the chance to sit down and talk to Chaplain Gerard Dols. Growing up in Richmond, Minnesota, Dols made a connection with Harvey Milk, the main character in the film Milk. Although he would not know it at the time, this connection would completely change Dols' life. In part 3 of our interview with Chaplain Dols, he discusses his trip to California, as well as the events that led up to his life-changing experience with a group of people called Jews for Jesus.
And so 10 days before before I was turning 18, I called Harvey Milk's home in San Francisco, and his partner answered the phone, and his name was Jack. And I said, Jack, I have my flight number. You guys are going to help me out. I'm going to be staying with you. And he confronted me and asked me, are you coming here to take Harvey away from me? What's your purpose? Why are you coming here? I said, well, because you guys are going to help me out. You're going to, take me and help me out. He said, well, I think you're coming here to take Harvey away from me. As a 17-year-old, I didn't have a clue why he was saying this to me. I said, fine, I'm just going to call Ann, the secretary, tomorrow at City Hall, give my flight number to her. And he hanged up on me. And the next day I called and I said, Ann, here's my flight number. And Ann said, you can't come now. And I said, why? She said, Jack committed suicide last night. And I went, oh my God, I didn't want to say anything. I just said, well, what happened? Now I called 6 o'clock their time, it was 8 o'clock my time. Harvey came home at 6:30 and found him committed suicide. That's what she said. And I went, oh my God. I mean, in my mind I'm thinking, was I the cause? And I suffered 25 years wondering, was I the person that caused this suicide? So I decided to go to LA to try to go to Don Amador and have Don Amador help me out until that Christmas, and then I could move in with Harvey Milk so I can give him some rest because his partner committed suicide. And then I went to LA, Don Amador helped me out, found a place, and I was going to stay for a few months. And but November 27th, the mayor of San Francisco, Mayor Moscone, and Harvey Milk was shot and killed at City Hall by Dan White. I was pretty much devastated, because he was my idol, and I thought he's going to help me. Then I realized all my gay friends that I met in LA just deserted me. They just left. It was very hard. I didn't understand why they deserted me. Maybe their idol was gone too. And so what happened was I decided to stay in LA, but I was very sad. And but also I was questioning about the gay life. I thought, all my friends are gone and they deserted me. And I thought maybe there's something wrong with this life because I wasn't happy. I wasn't joyful. I wasn't, to me, the gay life was a lie. There was no peace or joy or commitment. It was an artificial lifestyle and a lot of pain, and I just didn't want it. I thought, is this what a gay life is all about? In October, a month after I got to LA, I met a couple that were from Jews for Jesus service in Beverly Hills Church, and I don't know if you call it church or synagogue, but it was Jews for Jesus, and they also came out of the gay lifestyle. And they said you could be free, from this. Well, this is right before Harvey was murdered, and I thought, oh, I don't need this. I rejected them, and then the miracle part was the end of February of '79. I ran into them. I was going to school early. I was going to high school, trying to finish my high school in LA. And I ran into this couple at the library, and you just don't meet people twice in LA. You just don't meet them because it's like 7-8 million people. And so I just thought, this is not happening, you know. I mean, just, you know. So I remember the couple, they were in the library. They didn't know why they were there. They would just stop at the library, at the school. It was in Hollywood High. And so I went up to them and I said, what are you guys doing here? Do you remember me? This is like 4 months later, 4 or 5 months. And they said, well, we're just here to look at books or something. And they invited me to a Jews for Jesus and service, and I went to the service. Before that, I remember they said, well, we have a Friday night service. Do you want to come to Jews for Jesus? I said, yeah. My heart was open. I was very angry, but I was still open to hear what they had to say. And so that week, I went to West Hollywood, it's a gay area, and I went to a store called Fairfax Clothing. It was a Jewish store, and I remember buying an outfit because I really wanted people to like me. I thought I want to look really nice for this service, and so that was a Wednesday. Well, that Friday I went and I went to the service, and I walked in that door, and I knew that they had something that I didn't have. They had love, they had joy in their face. I didn't know at the time, but they just shined. You know, these people were just shining, and I wanted what they had. I wanted something better than what I had. And anyway, the rabbi was talking about being born again, and I thought, well, what is born again? And at the end of his sermon, he said, does anybody want to be born again? And I raised my hand, and I thought, wow, you know. So this lady took me back. It was a house. It was a Jews for Jesus house. And I went in the back room with this lady named Miriam. And I said to her, how do you know if you're born again? Is that just some title you put on your forehead and go tell people? And she said, Gerard, you will know when you're born again. Well, my whole life was so miserable. And I thought, well, I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to see if this can help me. And I remember I was praying with her. She was leading me into the prayer, and she said, I followed her in prayer, and I said, Jesus, forgive me of my sins. I need you. Wash me clean, and I just invite you into my heart. And I remember I looked up, and I saw this bright light. It was so bright that it blinded my eyes for about 45 seconds, and then that light became like a little ball. And the little ball went into my mouth, and it went into my heart. And it was like scales were taken off my eyes. And I had joy, I had love for the first time. I'm gonna have that forever. It's like nobody could ever fulfill that except Jesus. You know, I knew that this was what I've been looking for all of my life.